evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Very warm welcome on behalf of Manhattan Meditation Center to everyone who is joining us on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. Very glad that you have chosen to be with us. You're choosing to spend the evening with us. Before we start today's talk, just a little housekeeping things. First and foremost, this lecture is also available in Spanish. We have a Spanish translator with us today. So if you prefer to listen to this in Spanish, there's a little icon at the bottom of your Zoom window, like a globe. If you click on it, it'll give you the choice of language, and you can choose Spanish in that. This month, we are also offering a workshop on this coming Saturday, which is March 19th. The topic is the game of life. The timings for the workshop is in the morning from 10 to 11:30. We do so many programs, sometimes I get confused with the timing, but I think it's 10 to 11:30. So it's right in the morning.
12:30.
No, it's 11 to 12:30?
No,
okay.
I'm mixing it up with the meditation course. Sorry.
Okay, so I think the timing again is, I will post it in the chat. But anyway, if you have registered for the workshop, great, you're already ahead in the game. If you haven't, please take a minute, go on our website and register. Registration link is already posted under the talks link. We also are offering a short meditation course in the beginning of April. So please block the dates. It's on April 2nd and 3rd. Keeping in mind the busy schedule, and because everyone is going back to work, right? So weekdays, sometimes it's kind of hard to make time. So we are trying to offer little combinations and different times and days, because a lot of people are interested in learning meditation. So it's April 2nd and April 3rd. And it's in the morning from 11 to 12:30. I will post the link for it for registration. So you can just copy it from the chat and register. So you're a little bit ahead in the game if you're interested to learn meditation, or you want to refresh the little basics of meditation again. Besides this, Manhattan Meditation Center offers live meditation twice a day, Power Boost in the afternoon at 12 p.m. from Monday to Friday, and Good Night Meditation at 8 p.m. from Monday to Saturday, and at 7:30 p.m. on Sundays. I think that's all for housekeeping. Seems like quite a mouthful. One more thing, the recordings of this talk as well as the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel as well as on the Facebook. So if you want to access it, you can use either of the things, but if you choose to go to YouTube channel, the playlist is titled Wisdom in Action. This series is actually called Wisdom in Action, so the playlist is titled with that. So now, today's topic, a contented mind. We have been talking about mind quite often in a lot of different, previous lectures. And every time we talk, it's a little different angle, a little different perspective of mind. By now, you must have also figured out that in the spiritual practice and the spiritual teachings, what Brahmakumaris offer, mind plays a very key role. Mind is also considered the faculty of soul. Today, the perspective what we are going to discuss is kind of a little bit different than the earlier, and in a broader sense. Nowadays, there is a lot of awareness coming, and people are becoming more trying to focus more on keeping a work-life balance, right? Offices, especially the big corporations, are offering uh, work-life management courses on site to their employees, because it has become very evident that the balance is not there, and it is impacting the personal life, and family life is the basic unit of the whole structure, what has been built, right? It's the basic unit. If that unit, the balance there is kind of disturbed, it's like a domino effect. It percolates to all the levels. And one aspect of mind which we are going to discuss today is that all of us, we are connected with each other at the level of the mind. And our state of mind creates that environment, which is not tangible, not visible, but very subtle and powerful impact it has. And in today's time, when there are so many challenges at every level we are facing as a humanity, how can we bring that balance? And the message is that the contented mind at individual level will change the whole thing. Uh, it just gives you the power back in your hand, right? That's how I look at it. That's how I feel. So let's hear Sister Ines, what she's going to share with us today, a contented mind, and how this can show us a little bit more positive outlook, a little bit more light in our such a challenging time. Earlier we had COVID, and then we just came out of it, and we picked up a little spirit with Olympics, and then it didn't last long, and then we are into a situation where we are at the brink of war. There is already war, but the brink of World War III. So let's see how mind can change the whole game. Welcome, Sister Ines.
Thank you, Sister Anita. And welcome to all of you. Good evening and Om Shanti. It feels very good to be together again. Yes, so this evening we would like to explore how to see the light, how do we connect to the goodness when there is all around just darkness, problems, situations, difficulties, violence in different ways. And the role of a contented mind in that context. And so when I was reflecting on this whole aspect, I thought it might be useful to actually start out with a couple of reflective questions. And those questions you can use anytime for any situation, in preparation actually for anything. Even if, for example, I have the determination and the excitement, the willpower, I want to play a hero part, I want to be the hero. There internally, there still might be another voice present, because we have all sorts of beliefs acquired as we grow up. And even though there is not much to do, but it's important to acknowledge when then, yes. So it is important to acknowledge if there's any form of resistance internally, because that always can sabotage our goodness and our willpower. It can bring us down. So one of the questions, there are 4 questions. One is, and we keep it very simple, right? How do I deal with, or when I am confronted with negative situations, negativity, problems, difficult situations? And we keep it simple in the sense, just check in with yourself, what comes spontaneously, the first impulse. Am I someone who typically just reacts, who just gets angry, or am I, the laid back person, the relaxed one? I take time. Just check in. When you ask yourself, how do I confront or deal with negativity? What's my main pattern? In 1, 2 words, if you want, you can even write it down. It's just for your own self. And then the next question would be, there are all sorts of situations going on in the world. A lot of pain and suffering. People are in trouble. Many people are in trouble. So do I feel that I have a right to be okay when other people around me suffer, or they are in pain, going through hardship? And again, it's just what comes, or what you see in the first instance. What's the main response that's coming from within? Without thinking much, do you feel I have a right to be okay when someone is suffering next to me? And to be okay doesn't mean not to care, right? We will talk about this. And then the third one, what does it mean to me to see the light? What does it mean to me when I say, I choose to see the light, I choose to connect to the goodness? What does that mean to you? To me personally, individually? Because only when we give things meaning, then they will make sense to me, and I can also, act upon it. And then very boldly, the 4th question, and again, try not to think about it, just see what's the instant response, because that is what's coming from the subconscious mind, and that's the information we would like to look at when we ask those questions. So, do I actually choose to, do I want to see the light, even in the face or when there is a situation of violence? Do I want to see the goodness? Because we all, the way we grew up in different cultures, societies, under different influences, religion, and so on, there are all sorts of belief and behaviors that we adopt when we are small, when we're little, which influence us then for the rest of the life. Because one is to, at the conscious level, I make a decision. Yes, I am the one, and I choose for my life to always see the good. This is where, and in a way it will work, but to make it more real, more persistent, with less fluctuation, with less or fewer setbacks, it's always good to also look inside and see from the subconscious mind, is there any resistance coming? Is there another voice inside that's telling me something different, right? And so if we also consider that, that will help us in moving forward, in clearing up information within myself that can block me, that can hold me back, that can sabotage my true self. So we know that we cannot change the world as such. We cannot change people. The only one we can really change is the self. And what is it within myself that a very powerful tool that I have control over, especially when it comes to see the goodness of others, to see my own goodness, even though at times it may not be expressed as such. So one is the situation or situations, conditions of my surrounding, the world around me, with all the different scenes and sceneries, people and so on, and what they are doing. And another aspect is, what is it that I am doing with those people and scenes and sceneries and situations that I see outside of me? What is it that I do with those in my mind? Because, and you're probably already familiar with that concept, that through the physical sense organs of the body, we perceive the world around us, right? And whatever we experience, even at the physical level, we actually experience in our own mind. So in average, typically, I see something, I react to it. That means I see something, I hear something, I smell something, and certain way of thinking, certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain attitudes start to emerge. Within my own mind. So if there is a situation, if there's a pleasant scenery, if there's a pleasant situation playing out in front of me, I will have good thoughts. Someone saying something nice, maybe I get even a gift, whatever it is, I will be happy. But if there's a scene in front of me where someone maybe is not so nice to me, someone lying about me, someone making comments about me, whatever it is, I see it, I hear it, and immediately I have an opinion about it. I have feelings about it. I have thoughts about it, isn't it? So if the situation is positive, I'll have positive way of responding to it. Situation is negative, I am reacting. I either get angry, I get scared, there is some kind of like or dislike, animosity. So it's like whatever is on the outside is being replayed within. And over the time, if we keep doing this, because we have been doing it, we ended up with a mind that is not very peaceful. It's not very stable, not very contented. So what I'm talking about is perception. One is my perspective, how I look through these eyes in the outer world, my perspective, right? But then, for example, I see something, and what is it that I do with that within my own mind? That's my perception, how I perceive the world around me, and that is under my control. And especially if my perception is colored or influenced, moved by a deeper understanding of spiritual knowledge, it becomes a very powerful tool. Because one thing that we learn in spirituality also, when I heard that concept, when I started this journey, that I, as a being, I have a right to create an inner world of love and peace and power, even though necessarily the world outside doesn't reflect that to me. In other words, there's the physical world and there's the world within. And we know each one, we all live in our own world. So one is that I have a right, and actually it's something for those of you who connect to the divine, to God. God, who is the ocean of peace, the ocean of love, bestower of goodness, will very much support us in creating an inner world of light and empowerment, peace, love, joy, because that's how God wants to see us, to experience that, all of us. So one aspect now is, which I have to clear up with my own, or work out with my own self. If I have the right, and it's a God-given right, to create that inner world where I am empowered, where I'm happy. While on the world outside, in the physical world, there are a lot of problems. There's not so much light, there's not so much happiness, there's not so much peace. People say all sorts of things. Everyone has their own opinion. My parents, my family, based on my upbringing, there are certain conditions. Certain conditions have been put on me of how I should be, how I should not be, what I should have accomplished at a certain age, whether I am female or boy or male. All sorts of systems and customs, and I may resonate with them, I may not resonate with them. Whatever it is, I have the right to create an inner world that is different from what is outside. And I hope for you too, but for me, that was a very powerful thing that I learned it early on. And then one of the main concepts that we learn at the Brahma Kumaris, and probably most of you already are also familiar with that, you must have heard it. One thing that we understand is, and I hinted on it already, that we are much more than just the physical bodies. That there's a being, a living energy, conscious being, the soul in this body. And so I, the living being, I have a body. And I'm not just a living being, but my innate qualities of peace, purity, peace, pure love, joy, bliss, strength. And not only that, but we understand that originally I'm a being of fullness. I am full and complete. I have everything I need within me to be peaceful, to be loveful, to be happy, to be satisfied, to be content. And that's a very, very different concept compared to what we are taught by different religions, different faiths, societies telling us. So what I'm trying to say here is that if I can connect with that spiritual concept that I the being that lives in this body, I am in my original state of being, full and complete. I have everything I need. There's nothing lacking within me. Then my thinking starts from a place of fullness. Yes, physically, I may not have everything, and even spiritually, mentally, emotionally, I may not always experience myself in that peaceful, calm, serene state. That is okay. But the idea is, the concept is that when I started my journey, that was my state of being, and peace was my natural nature. And especially the understanding that I am full and complete. There's nothing lacking within me. There's no trace of negativity. There's no deficiency, nothing like that. And so if I take the courage to connect to that concept and use that for myself, then my thinking starts at the level of fullness. That means my thinking starts with I have, not I need, I want. I am not seeking. I have it already within me. Yes, I may not have used many of my treasures, of my qualities, but they are there. So like in a gym, you have to exercise, you have to go frequently to the gym and exercise in order to strengthen your muscles, right? The same is with our innate goodness. So I just want to start out at the place, at the consciousness and awareness where I am full. I, the being, I am full. I have everything. And then from that perspective, from that understanding, I then look through my eyes into the world. I am not looking out or into the world because I need something, but because there's something I can give to the world. Okay? So I just want to remind you one more, because this is where our mind can play tricks here many times. One is my current situation and how I experience myself throughout the day or the days, right? And we have certain opinions, certain judgments, certain ways of seeing and the self and thinking about the self. That is okay. But what I'm trying to bring close to you is the understanding, the idea that when I, as a being, started my journey, and this becomes now in this moment, my reference point for whatever I do in order to regain my strength and reach that state of fullness, completeness again, right? And so when I start from a level of fullness, then who am I? I am that being, right? And if I can connect to myself in this elevated, very empowering way, I can do that also when I look through my eyes at others, where I see their bodies, they're doing certain things, but I know there's a being, a living being, a conscious being, a soul in their body. And initially, at the beginning of their journey, their being was also full and complete, full of goodness. But in this moment, this being is under some negative influence and is acting in a negative way, in a way that the actions, the words, the actions, the way the person is looking, expressing him or herself is causing harm to others. So when I just see look at the physical level, there's nothing good here, okay? If there's violence, if there's abuse, if there's fighting, even if there's just, not even at the physical level, but bad language, bad behavior, all sorts of things, discrimination, gender discrimination, racial discrimination, or whatever. We have so many. If I just see and hear that, there's really not much that is right or good. And then forcing myself to see something good, I was never very successful with that. But what clicked with me personally very much is when I connect to myself, when I connect to my spiritual identity, where God Himself is saying that you are a peaceful being, and in your original state of being, you are full and complete, and you have a right to return. You actually have to become that again. And for that, you have to know that, and you have to go connect inward to that best part within you. And those of you who were here last week, to this inner point of stillness, where I am full and complete. Yeah. And I know from my own self, we know that we are not peaceful every moment. We make mistakes. The way we say things, what we say, the tone we use, the attitudes we carry. So, but still, I take courage and connect to my highest potential. And if I can do that with myself, I can also do that with others. And that's how to say, there will be success. Meaning it may take a little bit of practice, but you will be able to connect and see the good, which is not expressed, but you know it is there. But yes, I do have to have the faith. But the faith is, connected to that understanding of who I am. So it has to start within my own self. And that's where I need to have control over my own self. That we all have the angel and the devil within, right? So whose voice do I support? Whose voice I'm listening to? Is it the angel voice? Or is it the voice of the devil who is telling me that, oh, you are not good, you're like this, you are like that, forget it, this is all bad, Or is it the angel? I say, no, remember who you are. You have everything you need. You just need little courage. Remember it, connect to it, and just do it. Be it. Have the faith and practice based on that. So in this way, we are able to bring the light that I start to create within my own consciousness, within my own mind. We are able then also to bring into the world by seeing and connecting to the good, which is there, but not visible because the being is acting under some other influences. And then, along that way, that awareness, for example, if I am a spiritual being, and the spiritual being, the soul, has no gender, is neither male nor female. The body is male or female. So I'm a spiritual being, and I'm connecting to you, who is also a spiritual being. Maybe you're definitively in the process of awakening, meaning starting to understand, to accept and realize, yes, I am a spiritual being. There are many who still don't know about it. So they don't know that their eternal goodness is within their own consciousness. And I just have to know about it and connect to it and use it. Another awareness can be, to finish that, is, so if I connect to myself as this being, and then there's the being in front of me, so brotherhood, we are soul brothers, right? There's a lot of alikeness. Because what is different between us is all at the physical level, but at the spiritual level, we have a lot in common. And that's where unity is also created. We can see what we have in common. So it brings us together. And among brothers, there's love. So when I adopt a spiritual vision, when I start to use my physical eyes with based on the third eye, my third eye of knowledge, and use a spiritual vision for myself and others, that's where we are able to connect to an eternal goodness, where we are able to connect to each other, where there is natural love. Because as soul brothers, what connects us is pure love. We are strangers to each other, but what is it that connects us? What is it that connects us human beings? It's pure spiritual love. And if there's no love among us, there's no connection, but a lot of problems. And so when we start to connect with each other from a spiritual perspective, there's a lot of what we have in common. There's a lot of beauty. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of potential. And that awareness, that understanding that I am full and complete. I'm connected to my own greatness. So then when I look through these eyes, I can be happy about the greatness of others too, what they accomplish, what they achieve. When they are happy, I can be happy with them because I am already connected to my own inner greatness. And so there's no need for competition, for comparison and all of that. But instead, I emerge true self-value, self-respect, there's self-honor. I stay within my own dignity. I am a non-violent being. I am a peaceful soul. Om Shanti. So someone challenging me, it's okay, no problem. It's a provocation. I am Om Shanti. This is what I choose for myself. And the more I can do that for myself, I can then extend it externally, outwardly, towards the other person. You know, others may not see themselves as beings of goodness, but if I can uphold that vision, that awareness for the other person, it's a great support for them to stay in their dignity, their self-respect. So you are not using the weaknesses or deficiencies or shortcomings to minimize someone or to be afraid about it, but because you're connecting to your own inner goodness, you are able to uphold that goodness also for that other person. And you are holding that like a mother holds her child in that regard, in that self-respect. So it's a tremendous, it's not physically, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally, a big, big support. And then, of course, the energy that we emit, that is also the energy that we will attract. So the less fear I have within my own self, but instead that pure love, because I am a soul, I'm a spiritual being, and there's that love for the self of being who I am. And that love, I can also, in that love, or with that love, I connect to other people. Then that's the energy others will also feel from me. And so then the chances that some form of violence comes towards me is much less. So that pure energy, these pure vibrations will neutralize, you know, someone's attitude that may not be so pure. You know, there's a lot of power in that. So to remain positive, and not only positive, but to be able to connect to the goodness, to the light within and within others in the face of provocation, in the face of negativity, it really requires that spiritual approach. And then in that context, the meaning, what does it mean to see, you know, to see the light, to connect to the light? It means, first of all, that I, the being in this human form, I am non-violent. My original and eternal nature is peace. But yes, definitively, we have to practice and develop that strength that I'm able to uphold that awareness, to have that understanding and have that awareness in the moment of need. But this is the truth, right? I am a non-violent being, but I am strong, I am powerful. And so where lies my strength? Where lies my power? And my power, and at the same time, this power is also a weapon, is my purity of intention, the purity of attitude, purity in my vision. So the vibration of these elevated, pure thoughts, that awareness, that attitude, that intention is very high. And that also then becomes my protection. Purity in the sense that when I meet you with out an agenda. When I see you and not what I think who you are. The purity of intention to do good, something that is of benefit for me and for you. Not just to not cause harm, but benefit. And there's that respect, that regard for the other one. And that's also, it's my dignity. And the more we are able to express ourselves from that place of pure self-love, where I recognize my inner value, my own worthiness, that becomes my power. And that inner strength is built up, as I said, within myself, based on a spiritual understanding, and no one and nothing can take that away from me. So then definitively it becomes my task to uphold that for myself. But I see that time is running. I'm a little bit slow. So in the context of spirituality, what does it then mean to see the light? Is to be non-violent, self-empowered. I maintain self-control. Negative, unpleasant thoughts, feelings may come up, but I don't give in to it because I now know who I am. I'm peaceful, I'm loveful, and I want to be of use. I want to be of service for others instead of taking. But I have something that I can contribute, that I can give to the world. A pure thought, a blessing, my pure vision, the love and regard, upholding someone's dignity. They are acting or sabotaging themselves, acting against themselves by expressing a lot of negativity, causing a lot of problems. But my pure vision is like, very soothing for that soul. So when I'm coming from that spiritual understanding, I also understand that any form of negativity, any form of violence is a crying out for help. But if I just see what I see with my physical eyes, I see negativity. But what does that actually mean? And so with spirituality, or through spirituality, we are able to see beyond the obvious. We see beyond what is just in front of us. And, to kind of finish off, I would like to highlight 3 powers that are very important. And with those powers, if we inculcate them, if we imbibe them, if we make them ours through understanding and practice, we will be able to kind of, master every situation. And one of those is patience. Patience is very important. Patience, when there is patience, I do not get trapped in upheaval. I am not rushing into any decision or action. And when I have patience, over time, because of that patience, I will come to know what I need to do. So when we apply patience, we're becoming in a way sensible. I am not just reacting because of some influences or provocations, but I pause, I hold, I wait patiently. And then whatever I need to do, it will emerge from there. Another one is tolerance. We need tolerance power in order to manage the situations around us. If there's no tolerance power, things can become very difficult. So it's something that we need to, it's good if we work on that. And what does it mean to tolerate? To tolerate means, or tolerance power means, that I learn to respond positively to any challenge coming from within my own self or from the outer world. If there's a lack of tolerance power, that means I am in my old mode of being autopilot and I'm just reacting. There's a negative reaction towards any form of challenge or difficulty, right? But we need to learn how to respond from a higher level, from a higher consciousness, where I'm able to connect with the goodness. And then through that, I will be able to tolerate. So the power of patience, the power of tolerance. And the third one, of course, finally, contentment. But patience and tolerance power are definitely needed also in order to develop a contented mind. A mind that is full, where I feel fulfilled because I am not seeking, I don't need it. There is no greed. There is neither greed nor lust. This constant and persistent wanting of something. And greed, where you accumulate, and this lust, this intense wanting, the desires, and if I don't get it, I'll get upset, and if I still don't get it or don't get it at the time I want it, one can become very, desires can take you to a very, very forceful place. And of course, that's what is being played out a lot, what we have seen during the pandemic, where the domestic violence went up very, very badly. So a contented mind is fulfilled. There is no seeking, there is no, wanting anything from the outside. I am full within myself. And I'm not going to go into detail of that today, but we definitely practice connecting to the source of power, source of peace, source of love, to fill the self, to empower the self, to activate the highest part, the best part within me, that peace, that pure love, that innate joy within the self. And then from there, I can be of use, I can be of support for others. And then also to develop a contented mind, but then of course, these qualities also are needed in order to maintain it, is I do whatever I do it with love. And I do it with love from the heart, not because I have to, I should, or it looks good. No, you have to be real. And you have to put your head into it, but also your heart. And so you do it with feelings of love, feelings of peace. So while you're doing, you're injecting that energy into, what you are doing to the elements. And so then I do good, as I mentioned, not because, but simply because that's what is needed in this moment. So it's a very pure intention, a very pure way of doing things. And there is a big reward, high reward for those kind of actions. And so with these three powers, we are able to not just manage, but overcome situations. Because especially with tolerance power, where I keep the mind contented also, I'm then able to rise above the situation. Because situation is something outside of me, right? And if I go beyond, rise above the situation, internally, I am moving to a higher level of consciousness. I'm my spiritual awareness of who I am, that being of fullness. And then where I'm full and complete. And then from there, I look outward. And then, we can inject the situation with love, with peace. We can contribute to a solution. And we don't become part of the problem. And nowadays, how much can you really do at the physical level, especially over distance? But those pure thoughts, these pure feelings, these pure vibrations, pure intention and attitude, where I use a spiritual perspective to look at the different things that are going on in the world. And then towards the victim, but also towards the perpetrator, we are able to, to serve from a higher level, which is needed to protect the self. But then, of course, it's also there's great benefit for the other being. How much can we do? Physically, I mean. So one is, doesn't matter what's going on in the world, whether it's in the immediate or extended world, my life has to continue. But I must not isolate myself because of fear or keep burning in anger because of what is happening. So for that, the mind has to be satisfied. So I have to be in that positive place, in that empowered place, and then give that outward. So that will then be my own protection. Okay, so maybe there's some questions. It got a little bit late. Sorry about that.
No questions in the chat, but everyone can open their mic and ask if you have any questions or if you want to share something about what you just heard.
Otherwise, we'll just do a short meditation. And then afterwards, if you want to say something, we can take a few moments. So we'll sit comfortably, but with a straight back to stay alert within. And for the next couple of moments, I choose to detach from the outer world and withdraw my energy and bring the focus of attention inward. I go inward, connecting to the being that I am. and emerge the awareness that I am a spiritual being, and in my original state of being, I am full and complete. There's nothing lacking within me. My innate qualities of peace, love, strength, joy, originally and eternally, I am a pure being, a peaceful being. And in that awareness, I use my mind. I use my ability to think, to feel. And in that awareness of being, this eternal being of peace, I look through my eyes. I use my sense organs in that awareness of my true self. And I'm connecting with the world around me because I have to give. I have something to give, something very beautiful, empowering. The gift of peace, gift of respect, gift of pure compassion, a pure love that connects you and me. And when I'm connected to my own inner greatness, it becomes easy for me to see the greatness in others. Their innate goodness, even though it is not expressed at times, but I know it is there. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister.